Hi friends, welcome back to another Chop and Prop where I share all my secrets of propagating plants. In this week's video, I want to share with you my favorite propagation medium. There are a lot out there, so let's dive into it. My first favorite propagation medium that I want to share with you is perlite. Perlite, for me, has earned a AAA rating. So 3 things that make perlite really amazing. First, it is available readily. It is affordable, and most importantly, it is airy. You just throw it in any greenhouse environment, and that could be a Ziploc bag or a box, and the plants will love it. It holds just enough moisture to induce root development, which is what you want. And when you are about to transfer the plant into your new medium, whether that's soil or whatever mix you want to use, you can just lift and plant. You do not have to disturb the roots, and the perlite actually, for the most part, will just fall off. And that is awesome. And this really nicely leads us into my second favorite, which has not always been a favorite of mine at all, and that is moss. And that is because, in contrast to perlite, when it's time to pot up, you actually have to try to remove as much of the sphagnum moss as possible because you want your medium to have a consistent moisture retention, and sphagnum moss tends to hold a lot of water, which is also a problem with using this medium as a propagation or just potting medium in general. Sphagnum moss will hold a lot of moisture, and that is great, but when you have new plants that you're trying to propagate, those roots are very sensitive and can rot very easily. So what you need to do when using sphagnum moss is to make sure you bring out all the water. You put it in a greenhouse environment like a Ziploc bag or a box, and that will help retain its humidity. If you do not do that, the sphagnum moss is going to dry fairly quickly, and that's not really going to do anything to help induce root development. So that is why it is on my number 2 list, but I also love it because it does help maintain the humidity inside, and the plants just kind of really love that moisture in the air, replicating their home environment. And lastly, this is going to be the most controversial of them all, and that is water propagation. I personally do not like water propagation, and that is mainly because there's a lot of things that you need to know in order to get it right. How long do you leave the plant with roots in the water for? Some people say 1 centimeter, some people say 1 inch, some people say you can leave it in as forever as you want. That is not true, because when your plant is grown in water, it develops something called water roots, which basically means that it has adapted to learn to survive in a water environment. And once you take the fish out of the water, it cannot breathe out of water, so therefore all the roots rot and the plant has to develop all these new roots again. It is not a good idea to keep your plant propagations in water for a long period of time, especially if you want to transfer it into a different medium that is not water. So that is my number 1 complaint with water propagation. And the other thing is, it's a personal thing. I'm very, very lazy when it comes to my propagations, and I like to leave them alone for at least 2 or 3 months and sometimes completely forget about them because I have a tendency to be just forgetful, I guess. Anyway, the propagation box and the perlite method really works out well for me, and I don't have to worry about having 4 or 5 inches of water roots and then oh my god, I have to cut all this back again. So yeah, that is my 2 cents on water propagation. So to summarize, water propagation looks great. I actually love the way it looks, but as I talked about earlier, with the water roots development and knowing exactly when to transfer your plant over is just very crucial to the process. So therefore, once again, I find perlite just to be a lot more simple and easy and kind of really lazy way to be successful in propagating things and not really have to worry about it. But obviously, with all this said, you still need the greenhouse environment because it is the humidity at the end of the day that is going to induce growth for your plants. And the last tip that I'd like to leave with you today is when you have water plants, whether it's water propagations or a plant growing in water, you have to make sure you change the water on a weekly basis, and also obviously remember to add nutrients. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you would like to learn more propagation tips and talk about how to grow plants in water, don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Happy growing!